Welcome back to the All Things Plastics podcast. Today's guest is someone who's transforming what recovery looks like and feels like. Courtney is the founder of Restormé, a modern scar and recovery care brand that's redefining the healing process. After her own series of surgeries, from breast augmentation and lifts to revisions and even an upcoming explant, she realized how outdated traditional scar care really was. She took her personal challenges and turned them into purpose, creating something effective, elevated, and empowering. You might have seen Restormé featured in Allure, Self, and Glamour. We're talking recovery, resilience, and redefining beauty through healing. Everyone, let's welcome Miss Courtney to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Yes, girl, when I found your brand, I was so intrigued because, there's a bunch of little scar creams on Amazon and you can go to CVS and Walgreens, and we're definitely going to talk about all that. But I was like, wait, this is honestly dedicated to plastic surgery recovery. Your aesthetic is beautiful. The brand is gorge. And then I was like, wait, the founder also had surgery. I need to get her on the pod.
No, I'm super excited to be here and share my journey with you.
Yes. Let's go back to the very beginning. What made you decide to get your first ever breast augmentation at 22 years old?
When I first started doing my research for plastic surgery, I was living in Washington State during that time, and I actually ended up visiting my mom, and I was like, you know what, I think it's time for a breast augmentation. I was definitely really wanting one. I had just some insecurity around my breast, so I would say my right breast was about a C, and then my left was a B, and I just didn't feel super confident or comfortable within just overall body image.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going in to see my surgeon, and I was like, and honestly, I feel like I could have done a better job doing my research at that time. Within my journey, I was like, you know what? I just really need to get the surgery done. I need to just book it and be done with this because I just didn't feel confident and comfortable in my body. And now looking back at it, I was like, that's why people do their research. That's why they go to multiple consultations before they actually book the surgery with a surgeon.
Huh?
Yeah, I went in and I had an breast augmentation. I also had a mastopexy, which is a lift. And then
Mm-hmm.
during recovery, everything seemed fine, right? Everything seemed fine. But then about 6, 8 months later, I started having just pain in my right breast. And I was really red too. It seemed very irritated. Also, scarring was a major concern for me. And the surgeon during that time, he was recommending, using different scar gels and creams, but they were all overly priced, right? $300 cream.
Yeah.
Feel like you
Mm-hmm.
purchase just because you're like, I don't want to be left with a scar, so I want to buy the scar cream. And
Especially getting a lift. The girls, I was even stressed when I got told I needed a lift and I didn't get one. I was like, I don't want that crazy scar. That was
yeah,
my biggest concern. I know so many women feel the same way.
yeah, I remember going in and that was one of my main questions is how is this scar going to look? And I remember him drawing on my actual breast and he's drawing a lollipop. And I'm like, great, that's what is going to happen to me. And another thing too is when you're searching for your plastic surgeon and you're on their website, you're looking at their best before and afters, right? And it's
Yes.
a curated gallery and you can't really see scarring. So for me
Mm-mm.
going to it before being in the industry, I was like, I'm going to look amazing. This is plastic surgery. Recovery is not going to be bad. The scars aren't going to be bad. And little did I know right after surgery, I was like, this is a whole other ball game. I'm like, this is completely different than what I expected.
Mm-hmm.
And having those scars after my surgery and being recommended there wasn't any post care that was talked about during that time. It was very
No.
much, let's do your surgery and then you're going to go home and you're going to heal. And then I'll see you back during your follow up. It wasn't scars was a concern that I had when I went in for my appointment. And it wasn't something that they're going to bring up oh, I recommend you adding this into your routine because I'm noticing this happening, or just even pre-surgery, what are you doing to lead up to your recovery?
Yeah.
And I remember going in and I was super self-conscious, even looking at the mirror during that time. I was like, what did I get myself into? This is not how everyone else looks on the website.
Yeah.
Right?
It's so terrifying. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then he was recommending a series of laser treatments to help with scarring. And I actually ended up
Yeah.
keloiding my scar. It raised the scar. And then I actually, after that complication, it was about a few months later, and I went back in and I was like, you know what? I'm just not happy with how things are looking. I
Yeah.
feel like there's pain on the top of my breast. And then also too, it was almost like the implant was falling on the bottom. So there is two major things that were happening. It felt very high up here, but my actual breast tissue was on the bottom. So I was like, what is going on? I go in and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
no, you have a contracture. This is due to
Ooh.
inflammation in your body, which was also causing all of these stretch marks around my right breast too. And when I went in, it was almost like, hey, you need to book this surgery or you're going to be in a lot more pain soon. And I felt almost forced to book that surgery with the
Yeah,
patient.
like, what? Like, no, you need to book it now or else things are gonna go south really quick. And what?
Exactly. So I almost felt like they were trying to cover themselves a little bit during that point because I was like, what is going on? And again, I'm 22, 23 during this, and I don't have anyone in there with me. I'm just in there by
Mhm,
myself. And I'm like, this does not seem normal. I should not feel pressured to book my revision surgery right now.
mhm.
After that, I started doing more research, right? I went back to the drawing board. I'm like, okay, I need to find the perfect plastic surgeon to fix this. Yeah, still in Scottsdale, I found another plastic surgeon. We did a breast implant exchange and a lift again. And again, it's kind of unheard of. A lift back to back within a
To
full
back
year.
is crazy just because of the scar tissue. It's a fresh incision. You are at higher risk for complication, especially if you don't go to someone, a plastic surgeon that specializes in breast augmentation revisions.
Exactly.
So, yeah, yeah, scary.
It was very scary. And like during that process, I was like, okay, I need to go to someone who specializes in this. I was also looking for a surgeon that specialized in like breast recon too, just because
Mhm.
reconstructive, it's a little bit more, it's intensive compared to just a regular breast augmentation and a lift. So I booked that surgery and it was a 4.5 hour surgery just for an implant exchange and a lift.
That's yeah, it's the lift that takes them a long time.
And
Mhm.
after that, I was like, okay, like I'm going to be fixed now. Everything's good to go. And I remember going back in for one of my follow ups. I'm like, okay, everything looks good. I went home and I was actually getting ready to visit my mom and fly to California. And I noticed, I was like, wait, I can actually see some of my tissue coming through one of my incisions right now. And
My goodness.
yeah, and I remember panicking and I called that surgeon and I was like, "What do I do?" And he didn't even pick up the phone. I was talking to his office staff. They recommended to send in photos of the tissue coming through my incision. And I was like, "Okay, I can send in photos, but I need to know now, like, am I safe to go
What
on a
am I
flight
doing?
or should I come in to have it stitched back up because I literally have tissue coming out?" And
Girl.
yes, and, like, the reason this happened, right, was because I had the contracture, everything was kind of falling, so they tried to tighten things back up and do a smaller implant second time around, but there was so much pressure, it was breaking through the incisions.
You poor thing. I could not even imagine. I'd freak out.
No, I was panicking, I was, like, crying, I was like, "I can't hop on a flight right now, like, they need to call me back." They didn't even follow up with me until the next week, and this was, like, a
Shuts
Thursday
up.
or Friday situation, yes, and after that, I remember going back in, and they're like, "No, we're just gonna let this heal," like, they put a Band-Aid on me. And again, already from my first surgery, super self-conscious about the scarring and like aware that, there's so many other things that could be, wrecked for me. And it's not again.
You
So another horrible experience.
And
And
I wanna before I forget, I wanna touch on this that you can go to a great plastic surgeon, right, who is board certified in the States, has great reviews, you did your research. But another thing that's tricky is if you do have a complication that leads to a wound where you need extensive wound care, if that plastic surgeon or that nurse in his office doesn't know, wound care, they don't have a background that specializes in wound treatments, they sometimes don't know what to do, and then you're screwed, and I've seen that happen, and I'm like, "Oh my god, the nurse said to do what?" Like, this is why when you have complications, sometimes you need more care, you need to go to an actual wound clinic or a center somewhere that you can find in your area because a lot of these plastic surgeons, reality, they don't know extensive wound care, and the nurse sometimes in their office that doesn't have a background, and it's scary because they're like, "Okay, like, just clean it and throw a Band-Aid on it," and it's like, "No, no, 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 we need way more extensive wound care." So, I feel so bad that they just threw a Band-Aid on you.
I know. And they just like sent me home after that. And it was just insane because now being in the industry, like I totally know that there's other protocols, but you can also recommend out to a wound care facility. But that wasn't even told to me. It was like, okay, we're gonna put a Band-Aid on this and let it heal. And at
Ugh.
that point I was like my photos are just insane of like my healing journey. And I remember like looking at my skin, I'm like, okay, there's literally like all this blood. It felt like it almost looked like I had an infection. And when I show these photos to other people, it does look like that, which is super concerning. But at the time, I was just taking their recommendation and thinking like they know what they're doing.
You're trusting these medical professionals.
Exactly. And I remember they're like, okay, we're going to send you home. We're going to heal. You'll come back in for your follow up at that point. And I remember when I did heal, I was like, okay, I don't like, and this was after that big surgery. Then I had to do another scar revision after that just because the scar.
Lord, girl.
So I'm 3 surgeries in.
You are 3 surgeries
3
deep at this
surgeries in.
point. for a breast augmentation. That's the
Yeah.
crazy part. This wasn't a tummy tuck. This wasn't lipo BBL. You were just going on at 22 for a basic breast augmentation with a lift, and now you're 3 surgeries deep. Insane.
Yeah, 3 surgeries deep, and I think that was the hard part too is because, like, I had so many friends or other people I'd hear, like, amazing stories, like, "Oh, it was a breeze, I went back to work, like, I didn't have any
Yes.
scarring," and, like, I know everybody has a different like, everyone has a different body, they're gonna heal
Mhm.
different, and I understand that, but for me, it was completely different than what everybody else explained, and when I went back in for, the scar revision, I was still not happy with the way that things were looking, and
Of
when I
course
went
not.
in no, it was not great, and even having to trust your surgeon after that too, because it's like, "Okay, this happened with 2 other surgeons, what do I do now? I'm gonna go back in for the scar revision." I was trying to think really positive about this, and I remember going back in, I was like, "Okay, well, the incision lines look a lot smaller now, but what do I use for scar care?" And I
Mhm.
remember him bringing in just, like, a typical antioxidant, like oil serum
Basic. Mhm.
basic, and I was like, "Okay, like, how much is this?" It was around, like, 280, 300. And I was like, "Okay, like, what do I do?" Like, I have had multiple surgeries now. Now I'm at the final scar revision.
Mhm.
Like, I do need to heal and, like, take care of my body. I
Mhm.
bought that serum. I had to because I didn't
Girl,
know
you were that was your prayer. That was like that little
that was
oil. You were like, "This shit better do wonders because this is all I have left in me." Like, you were hoping on
exactly.
that oil, sis. Poor
I was like,
thing.
"This better, like, save me. This is gonna
That
save
was
my
your
scars."
last hope.
And,
Yeah.
like, at that point, I was like, "You know what? When other people are going through their journey and they're dealing with something similar to me and they have scars, they're going to take that
Whatever
recommendation
is
not
thrown at
they're gonna
them
take
because 'cause they're so
they're gonna buy
desperate.
anything."
Yeah.
And during that time, I was like, "You know what? I really need to." I was doing so much research. I was like, "What other scar care products are on the market, and what can I buy? I either buy the $30 CVS Walgreens scar care product that I know isn't going to work, or am I gonna buy what my surgeon is recommending for me?" So, of course, I bought that, but still, again, to this day, it was
My
and
goodness.
now I'm planning an explant just because I have another contracture. I've had
Ooh.
2 contractures now. So,
Girl, and this is a lot of money, and you're throwing on $280 basic scar ointments or oils, whatever it is. But, like, this all adds up between flights, between consultation fees, between
yes.
treatments, everything. How much was your first breast augmentation with a lift back in when you were 22? Do you remember roughly?
I believe it was around, I think it was around 13, 14,000.
Okay, that's right around that's ballpark
Yeah,
because of the
it
lift.
because of the lift, but then we don't wanna talk about that second one. That second one was, I believe it was around $25,000 for that second one.
Oh, because it
So,
was a revision, Lord Jesus.
because it was a
How
revision, I
much do you
also
think you
sorry.
spent in total? Between the surgeries, the oils, the treatments, ballpark, how much? I'm scared to hear your answer, girl.
No, I think it's around, like, $45,000 to be honest, and
Holy
it's
shit.
crazy because I always say that and I make a joke, I'm like, "From all of these complicated surgeries, I could almost just buy a Range Rover at this point." Like,
Honestly, girl,
it's
that's a down
crazy.
payment on a house, that's a car, or you could get your whole body done for
Exactly. No, it's
45K.
true.
You coulda had a breast aug, a tummy tuck, not saying you need it, but, like, you could get your whole body done, but instead, that money went to 3 breast augs.
Yeah. No, it's insane.
Oh,
I was like yeah, I literally make that joke to my fiancé all the time. I'm like, "No, there's a car right here.
yeah.
There's a car right here."
Girl, yes. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Now, it sounded like you kept a pretty good mindset during it all, which is tough to do, especially like complication after complication and financial reasons and like just the stress. And oh my God, how did you maintain such positivity? Because I know it's really hard for a lot of women out there, especially if they're just one, anxious to surgery itself, but going through all that, like, what are tips you can give them?
Yeah, I would say, like, even though it seems very positive now, like, me looking back and, like, smiling about it, it definitely wasn't positive during that time. I feel like there were so many times where I was just like, "Oh my gosh, I don't wanna go through another surgery again," but at that time, I needed to. It almost became like a medical reason that I needed to get
Yeah,
surgery. So, I remember, like, talking to my family, and I'm like, "Do I do this again?" But I was almost forced to because of the contracture and the pain that I was
yeah.
in. One thing that I wanted to bring up too is when I signed, like, all of my your intake form, you're going through all of your surgery consents, right? I'm sitting in the
Hmm.
lobby, I was with my mom and I was 22, and I remember getting to the back of the paperwork, and it started going through, post-surgery depression.
Yes.
Uh,
Oh, they had
yeah.
that, which is interesting. Not a lot of private practices talk about that or touch on that. Now it's becoming more prevalent in all the practices, but still not a lot of surgeons are talking about that or even giving handouts on it.
Yeah, it was interesting, but I remember, like, again, the paperwork wasn't explained to me, it was just, like, given, and I'm sitting there filling it out, and I'm with my mom, like, in the lobby, and I remember, like, turning the papers, landing on that, and I was like, "You know what? Like, why would anyone have, post-surgery depression if they're doing something to enhance their bodies and they wanna feel super confident?" Like, I was like, "I'm gonna feel, like, my best after this surgery," and little did I was like, "No, this is completely wrong."
Girl, you got
I'm
a
like,
reality check, honey, like
"No,"
most of these
I'm
girls
like,
do.
there's definitely a reason why that's in there because it's
And
so
even
true.
Yeah, and even you don't so let's say you don't have any complications and you look snatched and the BBL is BBLing and the girls are sitting right, you still have postoperative blues because you're literally going through such a big life altering change. Like, what did I do? Did I make the right decision? Does this look crazy? What are people going to think about me? My gosh, I'm going to have to ask for help just because I got plastic surgery. Should I have spent all that money? So it is definitely a thing. And literally 90% of people who get plastic surgery, women especially, go through it.
Yeah. No, it was definitely hard, and, like, all of those same thoughts came to mind. I was like, "Why did I do this?" Especially back to back, right? You're regretting the whole thing. You're regretting why you even
Mhm.
started, and for me, I was like, "Do I do the next surgery and the next scar revision, or do I just stop?" And I was like, "You know what?" Like, I was so focused on, like, the end result. I was like, "I need to get through this." But throughout that journey, I learned so many things, and it was completely different than what everyone else explained that it was. I was like, "I'm
Yeah.
in bed. I'm depressed. All I'm doing is watching Netflix."
Mhm.
I feel like even just getting up and moving around was hard too. And I was moving my arms too soon and I was gonna develop another capsular contracture. So I was really just staying in bed and not moving at all. And I remember the first time I was driving, I was like, "Oh my God, there's a world out there." Like it felt completely different.
Seriously, and did you have a good support system while you were recovering between your 3 surgeries, or did you kinda do it alone?
So when I had my first surgery, my mom was my caretaker. And then second surgery, my fiance, who I only knew for about 4 months, was taking care of me. And it was insane because I remember him and my mom, like, going grocery shopping for me. He's like, "She needs bone broth." He was trying to do the whole recovery routine, which is amazing.
Love it.
Yeah. No, he's great, and he put together everything, and I remember him going back and forth with my mom, and he's like, "No, she needs this." They were, like, fighting over what I needed, like, setting up my
I
room
love
and
that.
everything. But no, he was there for me and took care of me, like, after 4 months of dating, he spent, like, the first, like, 2 weeks with me at my place just to help me go to the restroom. Another thing that I had too, which is not fun when you have surgery, but I had the drainage tubes, he had to clean them for me. He
You
was
had the JP tubes.
it
Yep, the
was
JP drains, girl.
yeah, it was
They're not too tricky once you get the hang of them and you know what to do. Yes, they're kinda gross because you gotta see these tubes coming out your body and there's the drainage, but they're not as bad as they seem. Even, I'm not talking from a nurse's perspective, like, do you think 0 to 10, 10 being the worst, what would you rate having them, like, just to deal with them?
I don't think they were bad at all. Like, I actually didn't mind them. I think the hardest thing was just finding clothes where you can hide them in, like,
Yeah,
but now I'm like, I just wore like a sweater. I was wearing sweatpants. Like, it wasn't bad at all. I think just cleaning them and knowing when to clean them was something. And
yeah,
I didn't really, honestly, when I went in for surgery, even though I've had surgery 3 times, I will say that I don't really pay attention when they're going through all those things because I'm so anxious about the surgery. So
yes,
to have him there to listen to all that and to know
to
when
remember it all of it for you.
exactly
And,
that.
I like to have, like, the surgeons I really advocate for, like, preoperative teaching, like, a week before. Like, let's have a phone call, come into the office, your last consultation, like, let's do a majority of the teaching now, so the day of surgery, we're not just throwing all this info at you and you're just laying on the bed with an IV, like, ready to roll back, like, stressing out because no one's paying attention. There's no way that you're gonna remember everything the nurse is telling you. I
No.
definitely think it should just be, like, a refresher, like, "Okay, like, remember," but,
Yeah, I feel like even when you initially go into like, I know, like, just going in for a consultation, that would be too much information, but even having access to, like, a PDF or maybe it's on the website about, like, how they really envision recovery going at that specific practice, like, I just envision so much more that can be done because it should be
100%.
Like, it should be accessible to anyone before they even, pay that deposit to have that surgery or book that date. Like, it should just be out there and open for them.
There, so you have it, so you can like review it, read it, like take time to go through these pamphlets and, YouTube some things like, okay, let me actually see what a JP drain is doing. Like, so I kind of know, how do I strip it? When do I drain it? Like, how do I clean it? I
Mhm.
100% agree. Sadly, I think surgeons are getting better. I think private practices are getting better. They're more aware, but there's still a lot of work to do on making sure that the patients are really educated on what's going on and making them really understand, definitely
Yeah.
ahead of time.
Yeah, because I think right now it's, like I'm in the industry as a marketing director and I see so many different ads of, like getting BBLs done or mommy makeovers in Florida and how it's a super easy recovery process. Even in Scottsdale locally, like there's so many practices where, a board certified plastic surgeon isn't even the person that's doing liposuction. So to
Yeah.
to find, the best, like, you need to find a board certified plastic surgeon. Like, everyone does put so much emphasis on it, but it's so true because you can go out there and, the recovery is already bad enough. But if you're not finding the right board certified plastic surgeon for you, it's going to be, that road's going to be very
Yeah.
complicated.
And the right staff too. Like, let's say it's a great surgeon, but you go into that office and the MA or the front desk girl, they're already forgetting labs or they're already not following up. They're already not calling you. The nurse doesn't know how to answer your questions. Those are a lot of red flags too, because a lot of the times the support staff is sometimes just as, honestly, all the time, just as important as the surgeon. So if you're already getting red flags in the
Yeah,
office, they're losing your shit. They're like, no, you don't need your labs or it's fine or whatever. Like, red flag alert. Like, no, go look somewhere else.
that's so true. And it's crazy too because I know we like dove into my story earlier, but after my revision, I still wasn't happy about how my scars looked and, all of like, my actual tissue coming out of my incisions and like all of my wounds and having to heal all of that. Like there was just so much. And I actually missed my follow up appointment on purpose because I was just like not happy, right? I didn't want to go back.
You said on purpose.
On purpose, on purpose. I did not wanna go back in after I was fully healed because I wasn't happy. I was like, "I am not going in," and, like,
Oh,
the thought I feel like it's a lot to go in and to stand in front of a mirror and to, like, undress in front of your surgeon and talk about how things are looking, and maybe you're not fully happy with how things are looking, and I was like, "I am not putting myself in that situation," so I didn't go, and I remember they called me one time to reschedule. That's it. One
and
time.
they're just dropped you like, "She's done. Okay, goodbye."
Haven't heard from it's been a long time. It's been
My
almost 8 years.
goodness.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
I hope that they've gotten their shit together because that's ridiculous what you've had to go through. But I mean, based on all your surgeries and complications, you developed something so amazing, your brand, Restormé. Take us on how your personal recovery experience inspired the idea for your brand.
Yeah, definitely. So when I was going through my surgery experience, I was really doing research and I was like, what scar care products are on the market? And again, I was looking at all different price points. I need to find something that truly works. And for me, everything that I was using, like I dabbled in even just like regular like face creams and things like that that really did
Yeah.
work on my body. So I feel like just the scar care market in general, like everything feels very medical, it's very clinical. And I actually traveled post surgery, a few times. And I remember going through TSA and I had my scar care products with me and they're
Huh.
like going through all of my bags. And I was like, this is so embarrassing because everything says scar care on it. Like I looked
Oh.
like I looked, it
She
was
had
sad.
like 20 scar creams and oils in her luggage. They're like, "Are you okay?" And you're like, "No."
What's wrong with you? Well, I look back at it and I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, instead of having skincare, I had all this scar care. It was
Yeah.
insane. And I
No
remember them.
haircare products, no skincare. You just have straight scars, scar oils and creams and oh my god.
Yeah, I could heal the world with all that stuff. I was totally embarrassed. I was like, this is really embarrassing. I'm like, they're looking at me like, why does she have all these scar care products? But at that time, I was like, okay, yeah, like this kind of is embarrassing. Like everyone knows why I'm using this product because it says scar cream on it.
Mhm.
And everything just felt very medical. I remember even things that my surgeon was recommending after my surgery. Like it all looked like something that I would get, like from an actual like medical pharmacy. Like it
Yeah.
didn't feel luxurious. It didn't feel like an actual skincare brand. And there weren't a lot of women or people even tied to the brand itself. Like I wouldn't think of empowering women that would, be sharing their journey and how this product, changed their scars. So I was like, okay, this is weird. Like And another thing too is you want, when you're using a scar care product, just like how when you're going through TSA, you don't want anyone to know that you're using a scar care product. When you're at home and you have your skincare lined up on your vanity, I was like, okay, when I'm building my brand, I want the packaging to really look beautiful on your bathroom counter. I'm like, it needs to be
Oh,
something that
so
you're not,
thoughtful.
yeah, that you're
Yeah,
not.
not just this plastic container that looks like regular CVS, ruining the whole aesthetic.
I know it's well, it is ruining the aesthetic, but it's also like, oh my gosh, like I have to use my scar cream now. Like it wasn't usually when you're
Mhm,
applying, a moisturizer or a retinol or even just cleansing your skin, you feel like you just feel really good. You're
mhm.
like, oh my product is really going to cleanse my skin. It's going to moisturize it. I'm going to look very glowy afterwards. With scar care, it's almost like a chore. And with
Yeah.
Restormé, it was very much like during my healing journey, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to put this on. Like it wasn't a luxurious experience. It didn't smell good. It didn't feel good. I felt very sticky. I remember like going to bed like
Mm,
in a baggy shirt and I was like, I can't touch my comforter.
yeah.
So when it came time to really work with our manufacturer, I was like, these are all the key things I don't want. So going through that experience made me really figure out like what do I want in a recovery experience and with applying scar care, and that had to do with ingredients, packaging, how the actual bottle feels like skin and how we're playing into, the different skin tones and things like that. So
Yeah.
it was like, I would say that's one of the like, me going through that experience, now me looking at it, it totally makes sense of why I had the journey that I had, because now, other people can enjoy Restormé and, apply their restoring creme and for them to have a better experience than a traditional scar care product.
I love that you were so intentional about this from day one, like the whole brand just being elevated, luxurious. I love that, just being so intentional because realistically, a lot of big corporations are not thinking about that. And I think that you having all your complications, like you said, and your surgeries, and like, what would I want? What would have felt good to me then? And so I feel like you're like the perfect person to have this brand, and you are, which is so amazing, so thoughtful, so much thought
Yeah.
behind it.
It's yeah, it's very much like what I envision, the brand to look and feel like, but at the same time, at that time when I was 22, I
Hmm.
didn't know that other people were going through a similar journey than me. I was like, this is what I experienced, and I wasn't really talking to a lot of people about it, right? It was very hidden, and it was something that I was dealing with personally. Like my friends and family knew about it, but it wasn't something that I vocally talked about. And now being in the industry, like, you know, 2, 3 years later, now I hear about it all the time. And
Yeah.
it's
Millions of women, girl, millions
it,
all over, different races, ethnicities, colors everywhere. Like,
yeah.
it's almost like sometimes like a silent battle. Like, oh, I got plastic surgery, but I'm not going to complain about my scars because like no one's going to want to hear it because it was elective and like this is what I get. That's the thought
Exactly.
process.
Yeah, like, this is what I get because I went through that surgery, and honestly, like, I felt like that for a while too, but at the same time, I was like, "No," I was like, "There needs to be something better out there for us." Whenever like, I hear this all the time from patients too, it's like when they're wanting to book surgery, they're worried about their scars, like, that's their main
Mm-hmm.
concern, and I would
100%.
say, like, recovery time as well, but it's mostly, what are my scars going to look like, and where can I find pictures of those scars? Because
Yeah.
I think as an industry in general, being able to showcase scars is super powerful because, someone may heal and have that scar and someone may not, but being able to show that and just being more transparent too
Yes. Like,
is
yeah, it might turn out great, or you might have some hyperpigmentation. It might keloid. Like, this is the range of what you might get. So be aware, be prepared. And hey, if things are going the opposite way and you are keloiding or things are getting darker, like, here are some treatment options. Or hey, we'll loop back around after your 1 week. Like, I definitely agree there needs to be way more transparency.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like now we're in, the era of editing photos. I feel like it's just, yeah, I don't even want to go there, but
Yeah. Yeah. Or using like bright exposure or having the underwear cover the half of the incision line or things like that. Yeah.
exactly.
Oh my goodness. I love that the thought process and you being in the plastic surgery world. It's so awesome. And women should feel like, yes, even though it's elective surgery, like, hey, it's still surgery. You still deserve the best treatments and oils and creams out there. Just because you chose to do something doesn't mean you shouldn't be cared for properly.
Yeah. I think, the mission behind Restore Me too is, from like my own experience, I was recommended to purchase their creams, their oils, and I felt almost forced to because again, no one wants to have that horrible scar. So you
Yes.
feel almost pressured to purchase products, but at the same time, any woman that is going through that experience should have, they should have the option to
Options,
choose. They
honey.
should have the
Just
option to choose what
Just
products
like
that
you have the option of a surgeon or where you go or a recovery center, you have the options for scar treatments and creams. 100%, period.
Yes.
Now, how soon after your third procedure did you start to develop the plan? Like, I want to start this brand. Let's do it. How did that go?
So it was my second surgery, and it's crazy because it was a second surgery. I was healing. I was actually in my bathroom when I came up with the concept, and I remember just, like, looking in the mirror, and I was, like, checking out my my new breast, right? I was like, "How are
Uh-huh.
things looking?" And I remember, like, looking at my scars, and I was like, "This isn't like" I was like, "This is insane." I was like, "This is happening to me again." And I remember, like, going through all of my scar care products there, and I was like, "Okay." And I was actually using wound spray during that time
Mhm.
just because of, the tissue coming out of my incision. And I was like, this just looks super clinical. And I remember talking to my fiance about it, and we both looked at each other and were like, well, why isn't there, better products out there that are specialized for this that look and feel better too? It was very
Yeah.
much like us just looking at each other because he was helping me during my recovery, helping me
Yeah.
put on products. It was very much like both of us looking at each other like there needs to be something better out there. And
Mhm.
then I remember just laying in bed during recovery, going on Google, and I just started searching for all of the things. And what really came to mind is recovery care, because it isn't just a skincare product. It's not just scar care either. It's recovery care. It's a whole other category. And I remember searching and I couldn't find anything like it. And all the scar care that I was coming around was like everything that I already saw. There was nothing really different and unique about it. And it just didn't feel like there was even, like, a soul behind the actual product. And for me, with
Mhm.
Restormé, it's very much like, I don't want people to think of me when they think about the brand. I want them to think of, like, someone else that went through a surgery experience or breast cancer and was able to use the product. Sorry, I'm, like, getting emotional.
It's okay. This is how you know she has passion, you guys. She's getting emotional about it. I love it.
Sorry.
You're okay. Girl, you've been through the ringer, 3 procedures, complications, like, you deserve every right to shed a tear.
Thank you. Yeah, so sorry, I'm good now. But yeah, I just being able to do that research and like looking into other scar care brands, I was like, there's nothing like Restormé out there. There's nothing that kind of has, women, people that are tied to a scar care brand where they're sharing their own journeys and their experiences and can tie it back to a brand. There wasn't anything like it. It was very much like, oh, here's a clinical product and here's the surgeon or the board
Yeah.
certified dermatologist that's tied back to it. It's not actual people.
Yes, someone actually living that truth and that story and understands the pain and the hurt and wants different for other women.
Yeah,
Oh,
and it's
I
also
love
too
that.
just transparency around ingredients as well, because I think
Mhm.
when started working with my team of chemists and our manufacturer, I came to them and I was like, "These are all of my amazing products that I've been using that I really see value in, but I really want to create, the best scar cream. Like, how do we do that?" And it was us
Mhm.
going what ingredients we wanted to include, what we didn't want to include. And during that time, I was like, okay, I've been using this oil, but come to find out that mineral oil is one of the ingredients, and mineral oil is not great for your body. So being able to choose what the scar cream would actually include was really big. And I know in the industry for skincare, everyone's always talking about the clean beauty movement and all these other products that,
Yes.
or just ingredients that you shouldn't be using on your skin anymore. That has to do with scar care too. And since scar care was so
Yes.
dated, just there hasn't been a modern.
Outdated as hell.
Yes, very outdated. Everyone always claims 100% silicone. Silicone is amazing for scars, but there's so many
Mhm.
other things. There's growth factors, there's peptides,
Mhm.
antioxidants. We also want to repair the skin microbiome. There's so many things in it that can help the scar, but also support the skin around the scar too. And I
Yes.
just felt like that was definitely missing in the industry. And I was like, I need to do something about this. Like, this isn't just about me now, it's about other people too.
Now, you put your heart and soul into this, and you can tell that you're so passionate. Restorme has been featured in Allure, Self, and Glamour magazine. What was that moment like when you saw your brand being recognized on that level?
It was amazing. I honestly don't really have the words to describe how I was feeling when I saw that, but, I think for me, it's just I really do wanna reach a lot of other people. I want there to be brand awareness about modern scar care and just the approach that we have at Restore Me and how we are redefining recovery. And it doesn't just start with scar care, it's also how you're feeling
Mhm.
in the moment during recovery. We have this amazing email flow that's being sent to anyone that purchased a product, and it's like checking in with them, like, how are you feeling? Here's an affirmation for the day. So we
Oh,
really do see the brand helping more in the emotional aspect too, not just physical and reducing the appearance of scars,
yeah.
but The
There's a
emotional.
lot of mental and emotional aspects that fall into having scars, whether it's plastic surgery or, like you said, anything, orthopedic surgeries, general surgeries. Like, it can be used for everybody. And also, I love how you touched on that mental aspect.
Yeah, and for me, that was super important too because I was going through that as well, like feeling, not like myself during my journey. And I was like, what is going on? Like, obviously, I had surgery, but at the same time, like, how do I get back to the old me after that? But there is so much science around when trauma happens to the body. It takes time
Yes,
for it to recover. And a lot of people don't realize that as they can't come back super quick. Like, sometimes it's going to take longer. And yeah,
definitely.
Restormé is focused around so many other things other than just like scar care, and that's why I was super excited to find out that we were featured in all those like outlets.
That's
Like,
so fun, so exciting. The word is getting out there, girl. And like, you're doing such a great job, and I know there's a lot of science. I know you're still young and starting up a whole business and company and creating serums, like, that cannot be
Mhm.
easy. I wouldn't even know where to start. How do you even find a scientist? Do you, like, go on LinkedIn and be like,
it's
"Hey, I'm trying to build a serum," like, and a company, like, are you a scientist?
I would say that I'm blessed for my team. I work with a skincare consultant. His name is David, and he's amazing. He's been in the industry for over 2 decades. So he really helped me build my team. I worked with chemists out in Florida, also Idaho too. Like, everything is manufactured within the USA. I really wanted to focus on that. Yeah, no, it was hard in the beginning, but at the same time, my family, my mom and my dad are both entrepreneurs themselves. So it was very much like, okay,
Awesome.
like they
Runs
were
in the
able to
family,
give me.
sis.
Yeah, they were able to give me all the tips and tricks and, like, help me along the journey and help out with certain things, but as far as building a scar care brand, oh, no one knew how to do that. It took time, but that's why, after going through that surgery experience when I was 22, I'm turning 30 this month. So about 8 years.
Me too, girl.
Yeah, so
Yes.
I'm turning, 30 on October 30th, so 30 on the 30th.
My birthday's the 31st.
Wait, really? Okay.
Scorpio twin.
Scorpio.
Hey, mama.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes,
no.
we're a day apart.
That's crazy. Yeah, it definitely it took time and you have to go through so much testing, right? I feel like that's something
Yeah.
that a lot of brands, like, I know clinical studies are super important with any brand nowadays, but it's also like even the testing with your packaging. You have to test within your bottle. They put it in a freezer, they put it in an oven, and you have to pass all of those
Wow.
tests even before your manufacturer even fills your bottle. And I remember going back and forth because I really wanted high active ingredients because I was like, this needs to be effective. And
Yes.
it was just, like, us working together for like, on that certain SKU for, I would probably say almost 3 years, like, with that SKU, and
Wow.
then we have a few other SKUs that are going to be launched in the new year, which I'm super excited about, but it was so much work, and then also too, you have to do testing for we did HRIPT testing, which is dermatologist tested and hypoallergenic. There's so many things that go into it, which
Things.
no one really talks about, but it takes
But you were
time.
on a mission, honey. You said after all these surgeries and all these damn scars, like, we're gonna get to work and we're gonna make it happen.
Definitely,
Courtney
yeah.
was not playing games.
Yeah, I was like, "We can't stop now. We're gonna
We
make a whole
cannot
brand
stop
out of
now.
this."
And girl, you have your explant coming up. Are you shitting your pants? I don't know how else to put it.
I I am very nervous, I will say, and I think it's just because I've had implants for, let's just say, like, it's been 8 years now, and even though I did have complications with my surgeries, I'm still going to miss having the implants, I will be
Of
honest,
course.
but after having 2 contractures,
You're over it.
I'm over it. Like, the other
Yeah.
night, I woke up and I was in pain. I am a stomach sleeper, and I
Oh,
was sleeping on my implant, and I woke up, and it took about maybe 2, 3 hours for the pain to finally go away, and if I'm reaching for things, like any sudden movement, I'm definitely feeling it.
yes.
So, I think it's time for them to go
So
away.
we're taking out the implants. We're not doing another lift because you already have a lift. We're just removing the implants. Are you going to do a fat transfer or are you just leaving it as is?
I am going to do a fat transfer,
How'd I know?
which I've heard, like, positive and negative things about that. I've heard, you know, once you add, like, fat grafting in that area, you're gonna have to continue adding more over time, which I'm
Yes,
okay
because
with.
a lot of the fat will die, especially if your weight fluctuates. A lot of girls put extra fat in there because most of it will die. So you don't have to go back as soon, but it might need a couple goes to get the look you're achieving.
Yeah, like, I'm literally like a full C right now, and I'm like, "What's gonna happen to me?" But I'm excited, though. I think this is
But I
gonna
mean,
be
a little bit of a plus, like you're going to get lipo from your abdomen. So they'll snatch you up a little bit and then transfer it. So win win.
it's definitely a win-win scenario, but I feel like now I think me going into the surgery and knowing that there is a better product out there. Like I'm going to be using my brand during my recovery and to know that, this product does work. And like I feel
Yes.
confident in my recovery. But as
Yes,
far as
girl, you need to get on TikTok. Start you up a TikTok and be like, come with me on my fourth breast implant surgery. And then and this time we're going to do it right. And you need to have your brand, your Restormé. Like you need to. That would go viral on TikTok. Because
yeah,
everyone's going to be like, what? She's only 29 and this is her fourth surgery. And then
I
you need to
know.
show your scars, sis. Like you need to get the girls aware. TikTok would be perfect.
It's crazy because I feel like when I talk to people about like how many surgeries I've had, they're like, oh, that's insane. They're like, where did you have your surgery? They're expecting that I had my surgery maybe in a different country or I really wanted like a discounted surgery. I'm like, no, I went to really good surgeons. They were board certified, but this
Mm-hmm.
still can happen.
Still can happen. Surgery is still surgery, whether it's a breast aug, a rhino, a facelift. Sadly, surgery is still surgery. And where are you going for your explant?
So I am having surgery with the practice that I actually am with right now. So
Okay.
yeah, it's Dr. Brian Golly in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Okay. Well, I hope you have the safest recovery and surgery. And I'm going to keep up with you. Like, how you doing, sis? I'm going to be checking in.
Yes, please do.
Okay. I have a couple rapid fire questions for you, just beauty and recovery. So answer whatever comes to the top of your mind. Some are fun, just fun stuff. Okay. Your favorite
Okay.
post-op recovery essential?
I'm going to say my Restormé Restoring Creme.
Yes, queen.
Yeah.
That's your favorite. Love it. Got it. It's the brand, the brand. Okay. Coffee or matcha during recovery?
I feel like this is a hard one because I don't like either.
Okay. What's your good, go-to drink then after surgery? Like refreshing?
I would probably say it depends on the day, but like a protein smoothie with some fruit would be
Love.
good. I also love like a good like hot tea, like if I'm just like laying in bed doing nothing, right?
Yes.
A hot tea would
And
be.
it's like winter right now, like a good hot tea. And I love that you said protein smoothie because the girls need your protein.
Well,
Nutrition's very important.
yeah, even after surgery too, for me, like I'm not really typically hungry. So I'm like, I need to get
Oh,
my protein.
girl, you got to get your protein in. And you have to maintain your calories because your body needs extra calories because it went through trauma, went through surgery. So you're burning more even though you're just sitting there. You need the calories. Okay. One beauty product that you can't live without because your makeup is flawless, your skin is flawless. Give me something, girl. A beauty product
Beauty product. I would
or
probably
brand.
brand and like beauty product though is like I don't know if you're familiar with Hydrenity, but they have an amazing like hyacinth active spray that you can just spray
Huh?
on. You can use it as like a setting spray. You can use it like after you just got fresh out the shower. You can use it to refresh during the day. I would say that's my go-to.
Okay. Love. Now, what is one skincare brand that you are obsessed with right now that is on your counter and that you are using?
Am I allowed to say mine? I'm just kidding.
Besides yours, queen, because her
Yeah,
skin
I
is
was
so
like,
good.
no, I really am passionate about like skincare products too, and I do like to dabble more in like the medical grade realm versus
Okay.
So I would
Making
say,
sure it's medical grade.
yeah, I would say, well, that's definitely what I brought into Restore May too, because we're not fully medical grade, but at the same time, it is still really high ingredients where it still could be
Love.
the counter like at your Sephora or Ulta. But for skincare that I use every day, I use Skin Better Science, I use Color Science, I use Zeo Skin Health. So more like your derm,
Derm
medical.
brands. I need I need to get more derm medical skincare, definitely for sure. What's one most underrated recovery tip that no one talks about?
I automatically want to say scar care again, but I'm not
No,
going to say that.
percent though. Like scar care is underrated. There's not a lot of transparency.
Yes, I think it's definitely it's scar care, but it's also everything in between, right? I think making
Hmm.
sure, you and I touched on it earlier, where it's like, okay, no, like being prepared. I think that's the
Yes.
biggest thing. I feel like that's the tip that I would give. Like I know scar care is included in that, but there's so many other things that are important. Is like, even making sure you have all of your medications before you're going to
Yep.
surgery. Like sometimes people are like juggling around and they don't have their medications and they show up and they're like, oh my god.
Seriously.
So
Or
it's
if they're doing their research after on what scar creams to buy or what this to buy, it's like, no, you should already have that in your house by your nightstand at least a couple days before surgery, girl. Not on the bed researching as you're fighting for your life.
it's crazy because I'm part of so many, explant groups right now on Facebook. And, even before we hopped on this call, I'm like going on my phone and I see someone posting like a photo of their breasts and they're super bruised. They have steri strips
Yeah.
on them and they're asking like, what scar care product do you recommend? And I'm like, you have to be prepared. You have to be thinking about that too.
And not asking your Reddit group. a week
No, it's like
post-op.
we should already know, but I think for me, that just shows so much more opportunity for education around scar care too, and
Yes,
for them to
yes,
actually know, like, what they should be using versus what they're being told to use, and
yes.
with a restoring creme, you're able to precondition your skin and use it 2 to 4 weeks before you have surgery, so you should be using this product
Ooh,
leading up to, your
yes.
surgery and then after for your recovery too.
I just love that your personal recovery experience inspired your idea for Restormé and that you filled the gap of what was missing in traditional scar care. And you're so passionate. And even though it's not medical grade, you are still giving it those high quality ingredients and aesthetically pleasing and just everything about it. And you are amazing. And I'm so glad that we crossed paths and that we were able to do this and spread awareness on scars and tell the girlies that they need to get it together.
I know. This was so much fun. Thank you so much for having me today.
Of course, and I definitely wanna keep in touch, and I wanna hear all about your explant, hope the fat transfer, and hope everything went good, and continue to educate everyone, men and women, on scar care. I do a lot with bariatric patients as well, where they lose tons of weight, and they have to get lifts, arm lifts, thigh lifts, whole body lifts, and there's a lot of men who are very insecure about those scars as well, and I think that it's important that we not only touch women, but we also touch men because they do deserve that same quality care.
Yeah, no, definitely
So,
agreed.
yes, we have a lot of work to do, girl. But Courtney, thank you so much again for coming on the All Things Plastics podcast and sharing your surgery journey and just being so transparent and so open.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure. Thank you.
And we will be tagging and collabing with Courtney and tagging her brand. And maybe, I don't know, in the future, doing some fun stuff or giveaways or promos or something that we can come up with in the future. So that'll be exciting. So we'll definitely be tagging you and sharing the whole brand and whatnot. Where are you guys available to buy the product? Do you just have a website? Are you guys on Amazon?
So we are actually launching on Amazon next month, and then we are getting into like a few retail stores I don't want to share yet, but right now we are just live on like our Shopify website for purchasing product.
And what is that website?
So it's restormeskin.com.
Awesome. Definitely going to check you guys out. Well, Courtney, thank you again, doll.
Thank
And
you.
we will talk to you girls next week. Bye.